Pump Fund was successful for a reason. It was really chaotic and chronically online in a very disturbing and jittery way.
I just figured that was because I was a millennial. I was like, I don't get this, but it stressed me out.
It's very stressful.
Okay.
I think once you got past the
skibbity toilet, is that
skibbity toilet
is that fair?
The seizure risk.
Yes.
Once you got past that, it was dead simple.
Hello.
Welcome to Reply Girls.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. Would you like to start by reading your Twitter bio?
It says, I am the Chief Tactics Officer at Espresso Systems. I co-founded this company called Espresso Systems. We're working on interoperability across all of the Ethereum chain. And I say that I am the Chief Tactics Officer because my title is actually Chief Strategy Officer, which I feel like is a bit of a ridiculous title to have at like a 30-person startup.
Yes.
I think that makes sense if you're at a large conglomerate. So I poke fun at that as a title. What it really means is I just oversee all things on the go-to-market side, or partnerships and integrations and marketing and all of that. But I really think that all strategy is tactics. And I think that especially at a startup, you're most well-served if you approach things like that and you just have a bias for action. So strategy being like the high level, all right, what is like the long term, like where are we going? How are we going to get there? How do we navigate through all of these potential roadblocks? You just don't even know what the industry is going to look like tomorrow if you work in crypto.
Yeah.
And especially, again, at a startup, you want to be just moving quickly. And so I think it's more just about putting one foot in front of the other. I really got into crypto because I saw this as this alternative system. I was working on Wall Street, and boy, did I ever see the cracks in that system. We talk about griftiness. There's a lot of gambling that goes on Wall Street. And
gambling has PMF, so like that we know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, it's not just gambling on chain. That is happening everywhere. I was working on Wall Street, and it was shortly after 2008, and just all of the leverage in the system and just a lot of the fallout was still happening while I was working there, and it radicalized me. I came across Bitcoin, and I was like, this is a better way. But in order for it to be a better way, we have to be so mindful of security and true decentralization. And a lot of, if I look at the overall Ethereum ecosystem, now there are a lot of compromises that have been made, maybe just for the short term, I hope, but that's what I want to be contributing to, is the solutions to those problems.
Yeah.
Make Ethereum decentralized again.
Yeah.
Make Ethereum composable again. You have to watch because not everything is as decentralized as it says it is. So
decentralization maxi here.
Beware.
Just to let
Yes.
you know.
Disclaimer, decentralization maxi. Truly I am. But there are so many cool things that are being built. I met some guys yesterday who built a ZK passport and voting app where you can disclose certain things about your identity from your passport without disclosing your full identity. And they built an application to run a referendum on Putin in Russia, whereby you'd have to prove you're Russian to participate in this referendum. Obviously, it's not binding. It was just like to demonstrate how much dissent there is.
Which is huge.
But like ranging from, again, like Polymarket, very consumer app, like you could position it as very like casino based, to like real impactful, subversive, revolutionary ideas. There's so much cool stuff happening. This is my hope. We should not be talking about Dogwoof Hat. And of course, we've just spent 20 minutes talking about meme coins. That's where I want to take it. I never thought I'd be an infra girly. That was, yeah. I was like, always here for the apps.
It's done. You're an infra girly.
Yeah.
You're there.
I'm like, I literally am building a product that's like infrastructure for infrastructure providers for infrastructure providers. I'm like 3 levels
deep
of inception deep in infra. And yeah, I never would have thought that. But it is because I do think it's what matters. I think you've got to fix that first. Every major blockchain at some point is going to face a moment where it's really tested. Is it decentralized? Is it immutable? That's my tinfoil hat theory for you. We need to be honest with ourselves about what we're building, what the attack vectors of it are.
Yeah.
I think to me, that's what it comes down to. I think that we've got to focus again on that and on the fundamentals. And again, just know what our values are and be honest about the trade-offs that we're building into the system.
Thank you for coming on Reply
Thank
Girls.
you so much.